They called it a marvel of engineering, a symbol of luxury, ambition, and human pride. The Titanic was meant to be the grandest ship of its time. It set sail on its maiden voyage and never returned. Today, you'll hear a story that has captivated the world for more than a century. A story of a dream turned into a nightmare, of thousands of lives intertwined with fate, and of choices that changed everything. The early 20th century. The world is changing. Cities are growing, industry is booming, and ocean liners have become symbols of progress and national pride. Crossing the Atlantic isn't just travel, it's prestige, status, and adventure. At the time, two great shipping companies are locked in fierce competition. Cunard Line bets on speed, while White Star Line focuses on comfort and luxury. In 1907, White Star's chairman, J. Bruce Ismay, announces the construction of three giants: the Olympic, the Britannic, and the Titanic. Each would be a floating palace, but the Titanic would be the one to enter history, though not in the way its creators dreamed. In March 1909, thousands of workers begin construction in Belfast. Day and night, to the rhythm of rivets and steel plates, they build a hull nearly 270 meters long and as tall as an 11-story building. Newspapers already call it unsinkable. From the outside, the Titanic was imposing, but the real wonder awaited inside. The designers wanted passengers to feel not like they were on a ship, but in the most luxurious hotel in the world. First-class interiors gleamed with marble and crystal, gilded railings, plush carpets, and fine woodwork. The grand staircase, crowned by a glass dome, was flooded with sunlight during the day. It would become one of the ship's enduring symbols. On board was everything the wealthiest passengers could desire: a heated swimming pool, Turkish baths, a gymnasium, squash courts, libraries, smoking rooms, and fine restaurants with live music. One could spend the entire voyage without ever feeling the vast ocean outside. But the Titanic's appeal wasn't only in its luxury. Even third-class cabins were bright and comfortable, with windows, heating, and clean bedding, luxuries unheard of for many immigrants traveling to America. Construction cost $7.5 million in 1912, over $200 million today. First-class tickets cost as much as a modern luxury apartment. Third-class fares could equal a working family's annual income. The Titanic wasn't just a ship. It was a statement of technological power, prestige, and the belief that man could conquer nature. But soon, this statement would meet a force of nature that could not be conquered. April 10, 1912. Southampton, England. The docks are alive with excitement. Families wave handkerchiefs, photographers snap pictures, and curious onlookers marvel at the sight of the largest ship in the world. On board are 2,224 passengers and crew. Millionaires like John Jacob Astor IV, famous philanthropist Molly Brown, and immigrant families from Europe carrying dreams of a new life in America. The Titanic eases away from the pier, bound for Cherbourg, France, then Queenstown, Ireland, before striking out across the vast Atlantic. The first days are perfect. Warm sun, calm seas, a gentle breeze. Passengers play cards, enjoy fine dining, and listen to the soft melodies of a string orchestra. On April 12th, Captain Edward Smith visits the first-class lounge. Applause greets him. He is one of the most respected captains on the Atlantic, known for his calm demeanor and decades of experience. But by April 14th, the wireless room begins to receive warnings. Icebergs ahead. 7 separate messages come from ships in the area. Some never reach the bridge. Others are delivered, but no action is taken. Confident in the ship's design, Captain Smith maintains full speed, over 21 knots. The Titanic sails on, into waters where danger waits in silence. April 14th. The North Atlantic is eerily calm. There's no moonlight, no waves breaking against the ice. To the lookouts, the horizon is a black void. In the crow's nest, lookout Frederick Fleet peers into the darkness. He has no binoculars. The key to the locker was accidentally taken ashore before the voyage began. His eyes strained to pick out any sign of danger. At 11:39 p.m., Fleet spots something. A dark shape, just ahead, looming larger by the second. His blood runs cold. He rings the warning bell 3 times and calls the bridge. Iceberg, right ahead. Murdoch orders, hard to starboard. Engines full astern. The helmsman spins the wheel. The great ship begins to turn. But 46,000 tons of steel cannot stop in time. 37 seconds later, the iceberg scrapes along the starboard side. The sound is a long, low groan. On deck, passengers feel only a faint shudder. But below the waterline, the damage is catastrophic. Sharp ice rips open seams in the hull. 6 narrow openings, small to the eye, but deadly. Seawater floods in at tons per second, rushing into 5 of the watertight compartments. Minutes later, Captain Smith hears the verdict from shipbuilder Thomas Andrews. The ship can stay afloat with 4 compartments flooded, but not 5. Andrews looks Smith in the eye. It will sink, Captain. An hour and a half, maybe 2 at most. The unsinkable Titanic is doomed. By 1:30 a.m., the bow is deep underwater. The angle of the deck grows steeper, and reality begins to set in. The Titanic is sinking. The women and children first order is enforced. Crew members guide mothers clutching children toward the boats, while many men step back, silently giving up their places. Some passengers pray. Others pace in disbelief. A few still cling to the hope that the ship will somehow remain afloat. The band continues to play, even as the deck grows more chaotic. Their music drifts into the cold air, a haunting soundtrack to the night's unfolding tragedy. In the lower decks, panic takes hold. Third-class passengers force open gates, carrying children up narrow stairways, desperate to find an open lifeboat. One by one, the lifeboats pull away, each filled with people staring back at the massive, glowing liner as it slowly sinks deeper into the sea. By 2 a.m., the stern begins to lift higher out of the water. Inside, glass shatters. Heavy objects slide across floors. The last distress rockets streak into the night sky. Captain Smith remains on the bridge. Witnesses say they saw him for the last time standing in silence, the weight of the night's events etched across his face. At 2:15 a.m., the bow disappears beneath the waves. The stern rises higher and higher, nearly vertical. The ship's lights flicker, then go out. The immense strain on the hull is too much. With a deafening roar, the Titanic breaks in two, just ahead of the third funnel. The bow section drops quickly into the darkness, descending nearly 2.5 miles to the seabed. For a few moments, the stern settles back in the water. Survivors remember the eerie stillness, broken only by cries for help. But the reprieve is brief. Water pours into the stern. It lifts again, almost vertical, before sliding into the freezing Atlantic. In minutes, the ship is gone. The cries of over 1,000 people fill the night. Slowly, one by one, the voices fade into silence. It is just after 4 a.m. The RMS Carpathia, having raced through the night after receiving the Titanic's distress call, finally arrives at the coordinates. They find a silent, frozen scene. Small lifeboats drifting on the black water, survivors huddled together, their faces pale and eyes hollow. The Carpathia's crew begins pulling people aboard. Some are so cold and weak they must be lifted by ropes and blankets. Others are in shock, unable to speak. One by one, they climb aboard to safety. Among them, Molly Brown, urging others to keep moving. Crewmen who rowed for hours, children who have lost their parents. By 8:30 a.m., all known survivors are on board. The Carpathia turns toward New York, leaving behind the empty sea, and more than 1,500 souls who never made it. In the days to come, the world will demand answers. But for those rescued that night, the questions will never end. News of the disaster spreads like wildfire. Around the world, headlines scream in disbelief. The unsinkable Titanic has gone down. In the weeks that follow, inquiries in both the United States and Britain seek to understand what went wrong. Witnesses describe the ignored ice warnings, the lack of lifeboats, and the speed maintained through dangerous waters. The verdict is clear: overconfidence, design flaws, and inadequate safety measures turned an accident into a catastrophe. In response, maritime law changes forever. Every passenger ship must now carry enough lifeboats for all on board. Radios must be manned 24 hours a day. Distress signals are standardized and must always be investigated. The Titanic's loss reshaped sea travel. It was a painful reminder that no vessel is invincible and that safety can never be an afterthought. For more than 70 years, the Titanic lay hidden 2.5 miles beneath the waves, a ghost lost to the deep. In 1985, Dr. Robert Ballard and his team finally found her. The bow lay almost intact, its railings still in place. The stern, torn apart by the breakup, was scattered across the seabed. Around the wreck were shoes, suitcases, bottles, silent witnesses to that night in April 1912. A time capsule of human ambition, tragedy, and loss. But the Titanic is slowly disappearing. Bacteria and the relentless ocean are consuming her. Experts believe that within decades, she may vanish entirely. More than a century later, the Titanic remains more than a shipwreck. She is a symbol of dreams too bold, of warnings ignored, and of the courage and sacrifice shown in the face of disaster. The Titanic story is one of ambition and arrogance, but also of humanity, of the people who lived, those who died, and the lessons learned so that such a tragedy would never happen again. The ship of dreams is gone, but she will never be forgotten.